Okay, welcome to the Black Hat Show. I am your host, the guy with the black hat. Welcome. So, let us do something different today. So, welcome to the Black Hat Show, ladies and gentlemen. Now, today, well, actually, not today, for the last couple months, let's say, I've had a train of thought that I want to run by you. And to clarify, my train of thought, well, let's say it's not one that is easily digested. So, for those who take things personally, well, I apologize. I'm kind of a free thinker. I'm a realist and an idealist. So, I'm going to float you my opinions, my views. Alright? And this is how I see the world. I'm going to be the next president. Now, when I say that, I don't mean president of whatever, the United States of America as we know it. Yeah, none of that stuff. I mean the next president of the world.
You want your buddy? We've got a rioter takeover at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
The JTF and Sarah were using the site as a field hospital, but armed hostiles swarmed in.
I'm sure, as you all
now
know,
they've got the med staff as hostages. We need them, especially Jessica Candle, the virologist who is running the place. Find her, send her to the base.
I know most of the
clean up
time,
what's left.
gamers, let's call Twitch gaming. Let's call it a society, a group, a gathering, a citizenship, a society. Well, as a society, we're kind of blind.
We've got a lot of hostiles
a little
inside,
unaware
agents. They're holding Dr.
of
Candle
the
and her
world.
staff. We need those personnel back at the base so we can get
I
the
mean,
medical wing.
how many of you out there actually
We'll hold here to cover your back. Then we'll escort the
listen to the
medical personnel
news,
when you retrieve
listen to the radio, read a newspaper? Really, take the time to find out what's going on each and every day with all the crazy things that are happening out there. Any of you? I doubt it. And if you do, well, that's good, and I'm proud of you. But the majority of people, it's not the case, is it? No. So, do any of you have an idea what's going out there in the world right now? I mean, obviously we all know that Trump is our president, and well, who would have ever imagined such a man would be our president? But here he is today, our president. It's wonderful. But did anyone stop to think, why? Why did we allow a man like Donald Trump to become the president of anything? I mean, during election day, where were you at? Were you on here? Were you playing a game? Well, I think I was. I may have been at work.
I might
Who
be able to
knows?
find Candle's location.
And I can understand why. Because if you're anything like me, the reason's pretty simple. The world sucks. It sucks a lot. There's nothing good out there. There's definitely not any decency.
Looks like Candle and her staff are being forced.
There's not any good people out in the world. I'm not talking about you or me or, you know, us. I'm referring to the world at large. The majority of the world pretty much sucks. You got people who demean, demoralize, put down, push around, and destroy each other. For what reason? Why? Why do we do that? Why, as a people on this earth, and I don't just mean any one country, why do we
There's a lot of these guys,
feel
but if you
the
use cover,
need
you should be able
to destroy
pick them off
each
without
other?
making yourself a target.
Individually. It's a worldwide cancer, let's say that, where everyone believes that their life is more important than anybody else's. Period. No matter where you live, no matter where you're from, society, as a people on Earth, believe that they are individually more important than anybody else. So it doesn't matter what anybody else feels or thinks, what they care about. No, it's all about you. You. It's all about the individual. Well, why is that okay? It's the reason why we have the man we do in office in our country, because somebody decided they wanted him to be our president. I didn't want him to be my president, but I didn't matter because, well, because someone else who has more power than me decided that's what they wanted, because that is what they wanted. It wasn't what was right. It isn't what we needed. The world doesn't need a man like him as the president. What is he? Why? Why would he ever be considered a qualified candidate for that position? I mean, I don't get it. He doesn't care about people on the whole. You know, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care if you're happy. He doesn't care if you're able to live a relaxing, peaceful life. That doesn't matter to him. He wants money. And he wants you to have to spend your life supplying his agenda, you know, supporting it. Now, I'm sure the majority of you aren't willing to destroy your fellow man, which is a good thing, obviously. But a lot of people are willing to do whatever, to have whatever they want in life. Because it's what they want. Well, sadly, my friends, we as a species, we don't have a right to such false, idealistic mythologies. They're false. They're not real. They're not correct. I'm sure that in our ultimate design, whether we be created by something up there or something down there or something out there, I'm pretty roughly sure that we weren't put into play to simply do whatever we wanted because we wanted it. I'm pretty sure. Now, I could be wrong, but with our ability to think and create, I'm pretty sure we weren't put in place. We're not here to just to take, and not contribute to creation, to understanding. I'm just, no, that's not going to be okay. And if that's okay with you, then, well, the world is doomed. Everyone's doomed. If that is the train of thought and that's okay, then we are doomed. But I believe that there is a way to go, a way to live, a way to exist as a people, as a civilization, as one whole people. No more countries, no more states, just people coming together to enrich and create.
There's a lot of these guys, but if you use cover, you should be able to pick them off without making yourself a target.
That's what I believe. That's why we are here. At least as of now, our point is to add to make things better, to enrich. Really, that is our purpose. And it's possible. We could live like that right now if we really wanted to. Anyway, we'll go on that later, I guess. Yada 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 yada. So anyway, the next president of the United States, that's totally me. That's gonna be me. I think we need to
There's a lot of these guys, but if
accept.
You use cover,
we need someone who's going to be willing to do what's necessary. You know, to think of a picture that is beyond oneself. Now, is that me? Well, I don't know. I feel like that the way I see things, the way I see the world, could be good. But who knows? I'm crazy. You'd vote for me? Achilles! Hey, man! Well, it's glad to see you again. You would vote for me? I'd vote for me, too. You know, I listen to the radio every day. Something my dad always did. He kind of instilled that mentality that... Well, not that mentality. What I mean is that he always instilled the idea that knowing about your environment, the way you live, was probably the most important thing you could do each day. You know, so every day he'd have the radio on, or he'd have the newspaper in his hand, or he had the news on, whatever. Well, I've been listening to it and listening to the same people that he listened to when I was a child. And it's amazing how far we've fallen as a people. In this country alone, how far we've fallen. Because these same radio hosts, the people who are heard the most, I mean, you turn on the radio, it's the same radio channel for everybody. It's the same guys who have been on the radio preaching for 28 years. That's how old I am. These same guys. And it's amazing now how they're allowing their beliefs, their what they used to once fight for, how they're letting that be corrupted. And to the point now where their original standpoint, their message is gone. It doesn't even exist anymore. It's a joke. And so they sit there and they talk and they get on these high horses. And it's amazing because at one point, these guys, they actually had, morals. And then something happened. Yeah, is it just that, what is acceptable, the norm, is that kind of corruption. And the blatant disregard for each other. I was listening to this guy on the radio just last week, and he was talking about technology. Now, that's not advertently negative. Technology is a popular topic for discussion, but he was discussing why men, are, by their nature, like right now, you as a male, if you're a male, you were born to understand and comprehend technology. That means like this, like a controller, a phone, a monitor, whatever, technology, period. You were born to understand it. So you're naturally inclined, you're more intelligent because you can comprehend advanced technologies like how this mouse works. Right. But women, females, they don't understand it because of their nature, because they were born not to understand the complexities of how these joysticks work. Literally, he was talking like this is how it was, and it was okay to think this way because it's nature. It's our nature. Men just naturally understand technology and all the other complicated things in the world, and women don't. That was his belief. And that he wasn't trying to be, and it's funny. Well, yeah, women are smart enough. So there's no getting around it. But he honestly believed that because of our two separating natures, that women are just, they only have one purpose, really. And this guy was like, he was saying, no, I'm not trying to be sexist and yada, 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 but I'm just being honest when I say this. Like it's fact. It wasn't just an observation that he had. He was saying, this is how it is. I can't help it, but I'm just being a realist. That was his exact phrase. I'm being a realist. Women and men, by nature, are inclined to other things. Men understand, important things like technology and things like, that's our classification. We only know this, right? And that women only know how to take care of a home and children, and that's their only purpose. And he was so serious, like it was no joke. He was just like, I can't help it. This is how the world really is. And I'm sitting there, my mouth is dropping further and further because this is the same man my father listened to while I was being raised. And it was appalling to hear him continue to support this view because that is how we were created. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure 10,000 years ago when we were, whatever we were, cavemen, whatever primordial form we first took, technology was not something we were just born capable of manipulating and obtaining and using. Now, I'm pretty sure, right? But that's just our nature. And vice versa. Women were just born to be household bodies who just, that's all they did. That was just what we are. Nothing else was ever thought of. There was no other concept. That was it. I don't know about that. That sounds pretty stupid. The idea that men are just innately designed for one thing and women are just innately designed for one thing, which of course is bullcrap. We all know that in our society, in all society, as time goes by, we market what we want to market, how we want to market it for specific sexes. So let's just think, what if 50 years ago when the first computer was being thought of, and instead of marketing it just for some stereotypical male, back then it was probably someone who was more scientifically inclined. If it was just, a man and a woman, and they were just sitting there, using a computer, and that was how it was first advertised, would you have ever just thought that it was a man's computer? Would you just associate it with a man? Well, no. You would associate with both because you saw both images, and it becomes part of your thinking. That's not nature. That is a controlled concept. It's being done on purpose. Technology is mainly projected toward a male audience. So that's manipulation. You're being controlled. You're being told how to think. Well, how does that make sense? How is that okay? I mean, forget the fact that it's completely destructive and belittles an entire sex, right? It just completely disregards their freedom of thought and their maybe what they would like to do. Maybe they don't want to be at home taking care of children. Maybe they want to have the abilities and the options that a male has. But no, that's not how we're advertised. Like, we're all just a product on a shelf, specifically designed, and there's no other alternative. And that's just how it is, because it's our nature. I'm pretty sick of it. They do. Now, I noticed in about the last year, when I see marketing for games now, there's a mix, a very, very light mix, where you will see a female or a woman playing a game. But usually it's very, very casual, like it's just something they picked up. It's nowhere, and then they switch to the scene of the male who is like, like he's got his control on his face and he's all like he's focused, like he's fighting the world. It's still controlled. The market still aims these products toward males. It's intentional. Yet people honestly believe, and this guy, I mean, he was so either he's really just a dick, and he was just saying these things because he's sexist, or he is so ignorant because of how society has grown its people. I mean, you weren't exactly given the option for free thought. You're pretty much, your whole life has been decided. I mean, that's just a fact. So if he is just so brainwashed that he just thinks that naturally we are all predispositioned to certain actions and that's all we ever are because of nature, then where does it stop? And why is it okay for anybody? And this guy is just completely okay with it. And then he was sitting there talking, and he had this guy call in, and this was the best part. The conversation continued, and this guy, and it was the phrase he used. He said, "This is how it is. Men are this way, and women are this way." And then he had, and this was on live radio, he had the balls to say, and if anybody has a problem with that, they will be dealt with. And I was like, whoa, what is that supposed to mean? So anybody who has a free thought about, I guess you would call it equality, but really just accepting that we're all individuals, we're not just male or female, we each have a brain and a heart, and we are not the same, and we never will be, because each of us is different. But if you have any kind of thought, this guy was like, it's not going to be okay. You can't think that way. And this is just how it is. Women are this and men are that. That's what the guy said. And the host of the radio, of this channel, just kept quiet. He agreed and kept saying things like, yeah, I mean, it's not my fault. This is how society is. This is just nature. No, he didn't say society. He said this is just human nature. I can't help it. And then he tried to ask this guy questions like he was some kind of like a scientist, and that he understood innately. He decided that innately he understood everything, and that this guy had all the answers. It was appalling to hear the man that I had listened to for 28 years. Well, not 28. I stopped listening to him when my dad died. So for 20 years, listening to this man who, at one point, stood for something. And now, because of how our society is tanking, everything is changing. We've gotten to a point that it's not like, at one point it was tabooed to think this way out loud because people would rise up. Like, when I say taboo, like they were, obviously in our history, we've had riots, we've had things occur that have made it very clear that if you're a sexist or if you're a racist, anything ist, you're a problem. Well, now people just don't care anymore. They're perfectly fine with being just that. It's gone too far. It's just gotten to the point where, I get sick just listening to the guy, and I kind of can't help but listen to him because he's so foul. It's kind of like looking at a car accident. You can't help but just go, "Oh my God, that person's head through the window. That's terrible." It's that kind of thing. And I was listening to him on the way here, and I was just hearing him talk. He was so. It's a radio station that claims to be fair and balanced. That's their motto. Because if they didn't say it, then everybody would know what they really are, and that's they only push what I guess what you would call the right winged agenda. Then there's the left winged agenda, which is the Republicans, Democrats. That's a whole bunch of crap I don't care about. But I hear him talk, and he's just bashing one side and not even, and then justifying his side when his side is doing crap that makes you want to throw up. If you knew half of what is okay nowadays, you would be just sick. And a lot of people don't know. I stopped listening to him, and I want to escape the world. I play games just like you do and watch them just like anybody. I like to call gamers their own society. And a lot of people just don't want to know anymore. They don't want to know that Donald Trump is a complete tard. But we all know that, obviously. But the fact that he has such views that he has no problem squashing people that get in his way. But here's the problem. If he was the only one, that would be something. You could, well, he's just one man. We can get, we can deal with one person. We can try to alter or fix or correct a mistake like Donald Trump. But the problem is that a whole group of people wanted this man as president because they agreed with his views, and his views are pretty specific. And if you don't know it, and I have to say it, white people, white males. Really, it's not hard to figure that crap out. White males. He doesn't care about any other race or sex. It does not matter to him. He may preach when he has to, because he has no choice to preach his viewpoint that we're all the same people. But he doesn't believe it. You know it because of the proof of it, and he's being supported. And this is what our country wanted. It does seem like anybody would be president. Hence why I think I would be a great president. And I'll tell you why. And I've had this thought on my mind a long, long time. Why do we live the way we do? Specifically, why do we waste our time trying to even our lives out? Most of us are trying to find a balance between happiness and work. But why? Why do we have to live like Like, all that matters is getting ahead, because, I mean, as we all know, if you're not ahead, then you're behind, and you're having to scramble to catch up to everybody else and to live the kind of life you want to live. Because that is what we have been, that is what society, our society, and most societies in the last, let's say, couple hundred years, I want to say last 1,000 years, that's what we have been taught. That you have to achieve certain things in life, and if you don't, then you're low, you're not worth anything, you haven't achieved anything. We have completely dropped the ball on the most important things that once made an entire world great. And of course, at that point, it was, I guess, mostly Europe, so not our country wasn't really, didn't exist. There was still a people here, but I mean, I'm referring to the foundations of our world right now, as we know it. Everything that is, or ever will be, has a foundation in the past. And I mean, specifically, the time period of creation, of intellectual thinkers who actually did things with the intention of enriching fellow men and women and children. They did it to help, to make the world better. People didn't go to work specifically just to survive. It was to help each other and to grow. We don't do that anymore. We don't care about each other. The whole goal is to get yours, and that's it. We've been taught to think that way. And honestly, I don't, that's not how I'm going to live. I've wasted the first 9 years, on the 13th February of my life, working like a dog to just have enough. Now, I've been fortunate in life. I have a house. I was given a house and given a car. But I had to stop my education to go to work, period. Not to get my education, but to work. And I haven't completed the things that I deem to be more important, which is creating and enriching the world. I'm a writer. I'm a realist. I'm a poet, and I'm a teacher.
This area is safe.
And I believe that the world, everywhere, not just this country, but the entire world, needs to get a reality check. It needs to realize that at one point, the world, an entire society, had only one purpose. Each person's purpose was to make the other person's life better, to give it meaning, to help, to enrich everyone else's, and including our lives now. The foundations, the technologies created are what give us, I mean, without the sciences and mathematics that were discovered, the understandings of how our planet works, all these things were done hundreds of years ago, and we have done nothing as a society. In this time period, I don't mean just us, I mean everyone has done nothing to enrich, to build upon, or increase our knowledge of our world. Nothing has occurred. We've done nothing. We have stopped. That's it. Sure, we have computers. How long did it take for us to have the first computer when the technology back then allowed a man to build a flying machine, the first flying machine, out of wood and paper? He did it hundreds of years ago. It didn't take him any time at all. But we haven't done anything. This is one man contributing to the world. Our focus is way off. We should not be living, working to live. We shouldn't be living to work. We shouldn't be just existing to get by, to just wait till our time runs out and that's it, and not give anything to the world. What is the point of that? We're not doing anything good. Ooh. 1,000 years from now, people will still remember Socrates, Aristotle. They will still remember Edgar Allan Poe. The people, those are just a few. The people who actually perceived the world and wanted to make it better through the way they saw it. These men are visionaries that we don't even have now. Like, they did something not because they wanted to be powerful. It wasn't their goal. Their goal was to understand and then help other people understand. That was it. That was what they wanted. They wanted to help. We don't help each other. There's no helping. So, it doesn't matter really what any, like, I'm not a political person, so I will never understand why we have these parties with their own agendas and their own views. Because their viewpoints are so trivial. They have no point. They mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. Because after those people have died, and they are gone, and they are buried, or they're ash in the air, all of that work they did will mean nothing. So what? We just wasted our own lives supporting their false agendas. Their beliefs that the way they see the world is most important. So we must live to work. We must spend our whole lives trying to achieve what is considered the perfect dream, and completely forgo all the things that make humans, mankind, human beings so unique. We don't need that anymore. We don't need to create art. We don't need to explore and understand our surroundings. That's not important anymore. It's already been done once, right? So it's irrelevant. Why? That's boring. No one needs to go out to a field somewhere and just decide to paint it. I'm sure people do it, but it's not supported, and really most people just they don't have any respect for it. It's gotten lost somewhere. That respect that artists and free thinkers once, they once had. You think the first philosophers, in fact, there are no other philosophers anymore because the only ones that ever were are gone now, and we don't have free thinkers anymore, people who are willing to question and that don't get slaughtered in the streets by the people who want to control the world. We don't have free thinkers anymore. That doesn't exist. That's gone. Free thinkers, you know what happens to free thinkers. They're dead. When they should be the ones held to the highest honor. They're willing to question a controlled environment, our civilization, our country. They're willing to question it because they see something wrong. Those people are what once made this world great, actually had value. Well, it's gone now. It's all gone now. Donald Trump, he is the pinnacle at this point for us. For us, just our country. He's the pinnacle. He's what everyone should be. At least that is what we should believe. At least that's what one side of the argument believes. That he's in the right. He's the right kind of guy. You want to be like him, because if you're not, well, you're definitely not going to have a nice life. Your world will be by their means subpar, and you will struggle until your dying breath just to have a life that is basic. Because of people like him, and because his ideals and the kind of people that he is, that is supported, and that is how the world is. That is him. That is the world. Donald Trump, really, if you need to choose an image for the world, Donald Trump's that image. He is the banner of it's okay to be corrupt, disgusting, and it's okay. So he makes everything completely right in the world. I mean, and if he's not like the last straw, if he doesn't open people's eyes, I mean, this guy should never been president. Never. I mean, do I not remember at some point him having a television show where he literally destroyed people's hopes and dreams? What the hell kind of show is that? And people watched it like it was entertainment. Are we back in the time period of the Romans and the gladiators where we literally used people's bodies for sport? What the hell? Why is a man like this ever allowed to be anything more than what he was? A corrupt, greedy, power-hungry fiend. And he should have been left right where he was spawned. He should never have been supported. I will never understand how someone or a group of people actually thought this man would ever make a good president. It's kind of insane. But, you know, that is how our society exists. At this point, that is what we are. And he's just he's a consequence. And if he's the consequence, he's what? Just one of the many consequences. What's going to happen 5 years from now? What's going to happen when we have someone worse than Trump, but he's completely supported because that is how it is. It's just our nature. It's just how the cookie crumbles. What kind of people we have? Oh, I mean, we all know what happens when society decides that's how it is. You can't fight the people. You can't question it because, you know, you'll get shot. Well, I'm pretty sure the majority of us outnumber those old fools who are slowly dying off. And at some point, when we are sitting here doing nothing about it, there'll be no one there doing anything about it. And you'll just have a few power-hungry madmen running the entire country because everybody else has accepted it, that this is the way it is. And we already know one man that pulled that crap off, and he got away with it for a little while. And what did he do? Kill a couple 100 million people? Well, I mean, I don't think we're very far off from that kind of ideology when a guy on radio can say those kind of things and say, if that's a problem, it's not gonna be a problem. If you have a problem with the way our nature is and how we are situated when it comes to male and female, then we'll just deal with it. Because women are women and they do what they're supposed to do, and men do whatever the hell they want to do because that's what they are. But that's just their nature. And he actually said that. He said that men are just naturally inclined to be superior. That's just what they are. It hasn't just been, you know, a conditioning of our society. No, that's not it at all. Come on.
Additional hostiles incoming.
Madness. Total, utter madness. That this, it's just, it's crazy. It's just crazy. But is it? Since it's supported, it's completely supported. This is how it is. Now, living in this world and being what I am, someone who I guess you say I like to create and imagine. I have imagined many scenarios in which a world like this could be altered or changed or quite frankly destroyed. And I have very extremist views on it, on how to change situations like this. And I won't go into utter specifics. I can only go so far, honestly. But one of my beliefs, and one of the many concepts that I use in my stories, the ones that one of my main story, which is actually what this hat is from. I told you, Achilles, this hat was the last thing my dad gave me, and it just happened to have spawned what I consider my greatest creation, my achievement. What I give to the world is this character and this world that is our world. It just has that defining moment that changes everything. And it's not that far off, and it's completely achievable if the people, not the government, who really has no purpose or function, the people govern and contribute and protect each other and the world at large. It's not just like countries and things like that. It's people, an entire world living together with only one principle: humanity. And humanity is a principle. We all have it. What makes us, without being completely like speciesist, I guess that's a version of saying racist against other species, what defines us as mankind or womankind, or however you want to phrase it, as a peoples, as human beings, as our ability to visualize our humanity. We can actually give it thought and express our humane sides. So it's empathy, understanding, consideration, our goodness, our ability to be good. By our nature, we have that ability. Well, sadly, there aren't many other species that can define that, because most of them are based off instinct. I don't want to say lower species, that's not what I mean, but let's say a wolf's natural proclivity is its instinct. It lives to hunt and survive. That's just what it is. It can't help it, and I don't blame it, obviously. But we as humans have the ability to project our humanity. And the many societies that are now long gone, sadly, did that exact thing. They projected their humanity and furthered mankind into what it is now. And without them, we would not have any of the things we have. Any of them. They wouldn't exist. We wouldn't even be here having this conversation. In fact, I wouldn't exist, and you probably wouldn't either, if it wasn't for their achievements. Because of people like them and their fearlessness to question what is the norm, or what has been conditioned as the norm. I remember at one point the world was flat, and if you disagreed, you were a great many of things, but you definitely were not someone who was safe from the world. I mean, if you believed such an irrational train of thought, you could be killed, imprisoned. I mean, there's obviously worse things. So the fact that these men at one point, and sadly, they still were sexist themselves, because they only believed men had the right to speak. Imagine if they had allowed the women of that time period to have their own thoughts and to contribute. Imagine where we would be right now. We'd probably be living on Eden itself, heaven on earth, if they had actually gone the full step and accepted their humanity, instead of, abusing still. So it's maddening. So anyway, my envisionment, and it's what my story, and I had it on here once. It's called the Fedora, and it's definitely based off the name of my hat. But what the Fedora encompasses to me is, like right now, all you see is my hat and my lower half. You don't see into my eyes, which most civilizations believe is the gateway to the soul. So what it is like a faceless image, because that's what society is. Right now, as it is just faceless, spineless, right? There's no point for a face to it. This is just what you need. It's just the image, is what society is. The hat. So it's called the Fedora. And main character in my story happens to be part of a corrupted world. It's like this. In fact, the story takes place in this world. It's obviously based off our society completely. It's what I envisioned could one day happen. And he is part of a system that is corrupt until a group of people decide it's enough. This is enough. We're tired of people destroying each other, not because they're trying to protect themselves or their way of life. You know, I mean, like literally, like defending your life against someone who would do you harm. No, they're killing people because they're inconvenient, or because their beliefs or thoughts are not theirs. And those kind of people honestly believe, and these societies exist. These religions do believe that, and I won't specify, but all of them do it to an extent. Believe that if you do not believe what they believe, then honestly, you're not. I mean, you're worthless. You're worse than on their shoe. You know, you could die and they would not care. Well, this group of people decided that's enough. It's done. It's over. We're not playing this game anymore. Well, sadly, this world is very stuck. The whole world. It's not just America. It's every country is stuck in this idea that you have to grind your life away to have any kind of happiness, to be anything, to get power. People are so focused on this getting ahead thing. What are you getting ahead to? Maybe you're racing to your grave, I guess. But beyond that, you're not achieving anything. Right? But people believe they are achieving something. Which is, you know, obviously bonkers. They're not achieving anything. They're wasting your time. They're wasting his time and her time and my time. We're wasting time over these ideas that people don't seem to realize are incredibly broken and have led to the wasted and pointless lives that could have been something. So, this society, in my book, this group of people take the steps to change things.
Thanks for getting me out of the garden.
And
I've been in some
quite simply, they destroy the idea of
zero staff, patients lining up out the door. This isn't going to cut it.
We're doing the best we can.
They destroyed the concept that there is just one, right? They destroy it. Instead of, let's say, religion, instead of saying that there's only one religion and there's only one God or whatever you believe in, that's gone. And then all that exists is the enrichment. So there's not a God specifically as much as there is belief and ideas. And that they are celebrated, and that people are allowed to enjoy and take part in the ones they want to. And the best part is that let's say they don't agree with one. Well, it doesn't matter. They don't care. They just live their life, and they still wave and say hi and to every other person, no matter what they are, or what they believe in. And that's the world that's created, and it becomes a utopian because everybody does something to contribute because they want to. And there's not money. You don't have this greed. There's no struggle for power because it doesn't exist. It's not allowed. People are people. You and I are the same. There is no difference. Because in the end, all we are is a heart and a brain and a bunch of tissue that has formed our bodies. We're not anything else. So there's nothing else. Period. So, in this world, instead of war and what do you even call it, like, what? Instead of pain and sadness and suffering, there's enrichment and understanding and caring, and everybody's there for somebody else because that is what's right. It's what you do. You help one another, and it's celebrated. All races, religions, beliefs, they all live under one harmonious society. And it's the entire world that believes that religion isn't just religion, it's an art form. And beliefs are celebrated. And so the entire world is altered, and it actually, and in my story, it's art itself, pure beauty, and it wouldn't be hard for us to do it if we just decided one day, I don't need money. What has money ever done for me besides make my life a complete hell? I don't need power. What has power ever done for me? You know, if I had my choice, just like anybody, I'm sure, I would do exactly what I believe was right. I wouldn't harm anyone, and no one would harm me because it would serve no function. I wouldn't be getting ahead of anybody. I wouldn't be superior because we'd all be the same. Because we all are the same. There's just no getting around it. We are all the same. There's no difference. And the only thing that we can do is try to make the rest of the world better. And that's it. That's all we can do. Not make it worse. Not be the person who goes in and just thinks, well, you know, that guy's got a nice car and I want that car, or you know, that guy's the president. I mean, like this idea, this competition for what and what point it has, it's useless. Yes, money, it's a complete waste of time. We don't need it.
JTF are taking fire near the
what is the function of it? Thank you, man. I'm glad you agree. I don't understand it. We could live in a society that celebrates its uniqueness. And I don't mean just our country. I mean the world. Because there are lots of beautiful things out there that you don't get to see. Because, well, the society that it exists in doesn't believe it's okay, that it's wrong, and that needs to be destroyed and squashed. So individuality does not exist. We are just blank pages with no point, and we're just running to the grave because that is what is accepted in society. And I'm sick and tired of it. And it's gotten so bad that they don't even hide it anymore. I hear it while driving to work. And it's terrible. I'm going to work because I have no choice, because this is what society decided, and I know I have no choice. But then I have to hear somebody reinforce it, and the way they say it, I was like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. So, oh well. Well, that's just fantastic. Well, yes, you do need it because people, you're completely right. In this current form, it is what is deemed completely necessary. You have to have it. And it's crazy.
Without you,
But really, do we need it? I mean, if you think about it, let's say just this community, let's say the streaming community, so gamers, Twitch, YouTube, the society that right now really, if you think about it, we're the majority on this planet. Period. There are more of us than there'll ever be. Those guys that are sitting in their cushy offices deciding how the world and each country is going to be run. We outnumber them. Period. There's not enough bullets to kill all of us. So, would it really be so hard if everybody, everywhere, just decided, that's it, we're done. We're not doing it anymore. I'm not going to burn myself out every day just so that I can die knowing that I didn't do what I should have done, what I could have done. I didn't reach my full potential. I didn't change the world. I didn't make it better. I wasted my life. And for what? Now I'm dead. And I didn't do anything. And sure as hell, it didn't serve a purpose because you're dead. Why? It's maddening that this is okay. So, in my story, and honestly, the way I feel the world could just turn around, the society, our society, but it obviously in my viewing of it, they decided this is enough, and it only takes 1 to 2 people to spark it, and people to understand and realize the beauty of it, that what could be achieved is completely plausible. It just takes everybody deciding to do it. That's all it takes. Because I don't give a damn what some guy in a White House thinks. Because he sure doesn't care what I think. So no. It wouldn't be hard. We could change it as it is. We could definitely alter. Right now, if everybody was just to decide, we could do it. It would not be hard. We all just line up, we step out our door, we make a line that reaches across all over one country and to the next, and we could decide right then. And you know what they would do, those guys in their offices? They would shit themselves. They would lock their door, and that would be it. We would win. Because they couldn't realistically destroy what gives them that power. Because in the end, without us, they would be nothing. Nothing at all. They'd have no point. Because the only reason they have power is that we allow it. Money and anything that's used to control you, controls you. And we give it its power. Money doesn't have power. It's pieces of paper. It doesn't actually do anything. So why? Why do we rush to the grave trying to earn something that has no meaning whatsoever? It's just pieces of paper or whatever. It's not something that's going to be remembered. 100 years from now, the dollar bill most likely is not going to exist. So why do I care about it? But if you were to go out and create something, a masterpiece, no matter, it could be anything. It could be a work of art. They do. They actually, and then you know what the thing is? They themselves probably believe it too. That we need them. They probably actually believe it themselves, and that's what's so crazy. So if we just decided that instead of running to the grave, that we were just going to live, to create, and fulfill, and achieve things that actually matter, the world would be completely different. If you went out right now and created that masterpiece, you have done something that can never be destroyed. You know? And all you have to do is express it to the world. And if we lived in a world that actually believed that that was the most important thing, like it once did, there have been societies that have believed completely in these art forms, not just art, but sciences, philosophy. It ranges to many different forms of free thinking. It's basically what it is. Art is thinking for yourself and expressing it, no matter what form. So it can be writing, painting. It could be anything that expresses your free thought. If we just did that and said, to hell with everything else that controls us and manipulates us and prevents us from being whole human beings, then we could actually change the world, and it wouldn't be hard. If we just thought that way. Just for a second. Just for a second, we just stopped and we thought that way. That would be the day. It would be the happiest day ever, because we would live and create and harmonize as one. There won't be governments to control. There won't be religions to dictate how you live, because it won't matter anymore. You're there, and like everybody else, to create and express and to make the world better. None of the other stuff matters. What a world that would be. And that's the world I want. It's the world that everybody should want. The way we live now is, well, it's just pathetic. And I don't mean you or me, but I mean the fact that we have to live it. It's nightmarish.
Really turn that one around.
Why do we live this way? I play video games. I play games and enjoy them, sure, on a level, but I also play them because when I go outside, I'm disgusted. When I turn on the radio, if I'm not hearing some generic, controlled form of music without any true meaning, I hear people saying things like, well, women and men are just by their nature designed and will do what, they're going to do because that's how they are. And it's not because someone's actually dictating their behaviors. People actually believe that men are just the superior sex and that women are just designed to be at home and sit there and take care of children. Why? I'll never understand. It's maddening. We live in a world that is completely insane. And the idea, and I know most of you have heard this, insanity, the definition of insanity is hoping and wishing and thinking things will change when we go down the exact same path each and every day. That is madness. Thinking it'll change. Believing it'll change when you do nothing to change it.
Dispatch to JTF Patrol. We've got a flash incoming. Deploy units to Penn Station to recover Mercy Drop.
This is Sparrow 3, over. We'll link up with you shortly.
They do. Everybody's basic need is to be happy. It's not just what they want, which is what, that's the thing that slips through the cracks. It's not always about what you want. It's about what's needed. It's about what the world needs. And by our nature, we need things that enrich our lives, that give it meaning. And that's been manipulated, and it gets used against us all the time. Money is one of those such avenues that we are forced down. I remember when I was a child, I'm sure like all of you, remember when you were a child, and the only thing you worried about, at least for me, was going home with too much mud on my pants or in my shoes, because I was out imagining and exploring my environment. And I didn't do harm to anybody. And it was wonderful. And it was blissful. And, I was always told, enjoy your childhood while you can, because once you hit the real world, it's nothing like this. Oh my God, my parents were telling me this. And this is how it is. That this is just how it is. And so, it's just like, we've accepted it. My parents and their parents and every other parent after the fact and before and whatever. It's just, well, my point is that it's being supported and it's being accepted and being taught on every level.
Your position and good to go.
When once all I wanted to do was ride my bike. All I wanted to do was finish my education and become a teacher and alter the way to change things for the better. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that because of the wall that, I mean, if you're not in a very specific circumstance or position, you just can't do it. You know, instead I had to go to work, and I work these ridiculous long days because I have no choice. I don't have a choice. Instead of people going to school to learn how to learn something to help people, they're doing it because, let's say for a doctor, for example, they're not doing it to help you. They don't give a damn if they're fixing your leg or a spinal issue or whatever they specialize in. It's not about that they're saving you. It's about the fact that they're getting that money. They're getting your money. They're getting everyone's money. That's just one example. I don't want to become a teacher to, this is one of the many things I want to do. I don't want to help people because I get something out of it. I want to actually have people see things as they are, and I want to be able to show them, to teach them to actually accept it, to give them that freedom. Because a lot of people just don't want to accept that they have a complete right to say no, they have the right to be themselves. They have the right to a lot of things that that is not believed anymore. It's crazy. It's a crazy world where I can't go anywhere without hearing these kinds of things. It just, I don't know. So yes, do I think I would be a good president? Based off my views, the way I would do things, maybe not me specifically a president, but if the idea, and if we could live in a world like that, we wouldn't need a president because the world would be in harmony. The idea of a president, of any kind of form of control, is what's got us here. We don't need someone leading us. We don't need someone telling us what's right or what's wrong. What I want is someone who walks down the street or a town or wherever you're at, and then comes by, and let's say if he's a leader, and he just says, well, that is the most beautiful work of art I've ever seen in my life. You've enriched my life, and I thank you for it. And the person who did created this work of art gets to, feel that kind of like acceptance that what they did isn't just some waste of time that no one respects anymore, but it's actually has value to someone. It's actually appreciated and seen for what it is, art and creation.
Glad you were here when the shit hit the fan.
If we just let go of these ideas, and I don't mean you, but it's the people that we are forced to be subject to. Sadly, we're all subject to them, and until someone decides it's enough, we're going to continue being stuck in this horrible rut. Horrible. Now, I don't mean to preach or get high and mighty. My main focus is that I just keep hearing these things on the radio, and news, and on news feeds and all these kind of things about, let's just say, the biggest guy out there, Donald Trump, and the things he says to people, and that it's just like it do you realize there's an entire side that just says, but look at all the good things he's done? But he is destroying people.
Screw
anybody who gets in his way with any kind of ideas, he just destroys them. He doesn't want to hear them. And unfortunately, he has that power now where if anybody really gets in his way, and if he really, really wanted to do something, do you realize how easy it would be? And there's nothing we could do about it?
All available units report
And that's
to West
scary.
24th and 8th. Patrol
Because he's the
under-
kind of man that would do it. Because he's been taught. He was created by a society that believes that kind of power is the only thing that measures a man. No, I don't believe. I know Buddhism. Buddhism. I'm sorry, I can't speak right now. I'm tired. I know it's not religion like those two. Now, those two specific religions are very forceful with their viewpoints. And there are very few religions like Buddhism that actually believe in just pure spiritualism and the acceptance of everyone in spite of the things that face them. And it's a beautiful religion. That they can do that. That they could have someone like a Christian spit in their face and they would just simply bow their head because they understand that life itself is more important than pretending like something like that is going to, it has to rule you. They are so much more above it. Not that they're superior, but that because they accept that life is fleeting, that we all will die, and that there are better things to care about. There are so much better things to care about. And why don't we? We could. It wouldn't be hard if we just cared. But in this country, in the country I'm in now, and in many other countries, that is it. Obviously, you guys know the different things that exist out there, the different societies that are so stuck in that belief system that, I mean, it's crazy. The things that they do to keep their people down. They kill for it, and they have. Now we all know the one religion. Now, and I'm not saying their religion's wrong. I'm not against their religion specifically, but they're the one religion, just like Christianity, that in history decided to make a move because their beliefs were offended. Not that they were destroyed or that they were told they were wrong, but they were offended. The way they believed, the way they see the world. Well, that's just sad that they get abused too. That's sad. But this religion believes so passionately that if anybody else came into their society, that they killed for it, and then they did. And when they perceived us as a threat to their beliefs, they didn't say, "Hey, we believe this, leave us alone." No. They attacked, and with the intent to cause extreme harm. All because they were they believed so much in that control and in the idea that people need to be subjugated, that we don't have the right to think with our own free minds. And that's what they really believe. And they're not the only one, and they're not the only religion. The majority of people believe that their way is the only way, and no other way is okay, instead of that open belief that we are all people, human beings, and that we're not one race or the other, we're not one sex or the other, we're just human beings, and all we have is a heart and a brain and some tissue that puts us together and that holds us together. No. That's unacceptable. We have to be defined, and we have to be controlled through that definition that defines us, through their views.
I can live through anything.
And if you don't believe it, that's it. I mean, they'll kill you for it. And there are plenty of societies and organizations, I'll say just organizations, that really believe in killing you if you do not believe what they believe. Period. They'll kill you, and they don't care, and they won't even. I mean, they just don't care. They don't care who you are. They don't care if you have your own thoughts and your own feelings. That doesn't mean anything. You are nothing. That's all you'll ever be, and that's what they really believe. I'm gonna die. So it's. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy that why do people think this way when religion in its purest form is just art. You know what I mean? It's someone, an individual who has a mind. One person created those religions. They weren't just a whole group of people. Someone believed in that, and then they brought it to the forefront.
Agent, let's talk. Got something new.
You are now entering a safe area.
That's true, and it's a beautiful religion. And they live they live the purest lives away from the corruption. And oh no, you can express yourself, my friend. That is the problem. You have no reason to apologize. You have the right to express yourself. When the rest of the world says you can't, you need to express yourself. You're completely right. It's a beautiful religion. And I wish that the rest of the world would just take the foundation of Buddhism. Even if they don't believe in the specifics of it, if they just accepted that we are all equal as human beings, they just accepted it, then the world we live in would be a beautiful place. We just accepted that we are all individuals and we're all free. But the world doesn't want to do that. So feel free to express yourself.
Keep up the good work.
I encourage it because I express myself. People that you can't be afraid to express yourself, because really in the end, all they're gonna do is shoot you in the head.
Now leaving the safe area.
And it's not your problem; it's their problem. Yeah, they live. I don't want to say simple lives because their lives. They live a life that is so far more advanced than ours because of the freedom it gives them.
Thanks.
They're able to comprehend and perceive the world freely because they have surrounded themselves in only that. They decided one day that, as a people, that they were going to live that way. They decided. It wasn't forced upon them. It was just, I'm going to do it, and that's it. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks because it's my beliefs. I believe to live in this manner. If the rest of the world just decided to do that. I don't know I can only imagine the world we live in. I can only imagine the world we would live in if we just did that. If one day we all just decided to turn and say, and instead of turning the other cheek and accepting that this is okay and that it's just the way it is, people like my president, not my president, but the person in that office who makes the decisions that he wants to make, and they're not, and honestly, it's crazy, they're not based off any of our views. They're what he wants and how he thinks the world should be. And that it should be controlled. And that he doesn't want certain people in the country. And he wants to dictate who is or isn't in it. And he just thinks that that's his right. Because what? Because who he is or where he lives. He really believes that because it's his right. He has the right to think that way. He doesn't care who he hurts. That means nothing to him, which is horrifying. because he's just like I said, he's just a reaction. He's an effect. He is. If you go in the terms of cause and effect, he is the effect of what has been allowed and what has been supported for so long. And not just in one country, but all of them. Well, I'm glad you're happy. That's a good thing, to be happy and to know you're happy and doing what you can do. And that's all. I mean, right now, that's all we can do, is to find what peace we can. I find what peace I can, and I would probably be more peaceful if I was just like, if I didn't every day I drove to work. If I didn't listen to these people that run this particular country. They say they're fair and balanced, and that they don't take sides. But I hear a person that I have listened to really my whole life say the things he says when at one point he stood for something. That is where this country is going, where the people are allowed to say things and with no consequence. Like when I say maybe like they're allowed to say things so vile and corrupt. And he speaks on corruption, and he says the government's corrupt. But when he says things like women or men are just naturally one way, and that's how it is, and that women are just, men are superior. He says this, that men are just superior by their nature, which is insane. And that's just one example. I don't know if Trump's the effect of what's been going on for so long, what's going to happen 5 years from now? What's going to happen 10 years from now? What's going to be the effect? Where's it going to end? Or is he as bad as it gets? I don't know. I don't want to find out. I'll be completely honest. I don't want to find out if he's as bad as it gets. Because he's bad enough. He's bad enough. People make excuses. Exactly. These are exactly my beliefs. I want to do this too because I know that I don't do harm to people, and I'm just trying to bring a different perspective that right now I can't do. You're stuck currently. I completely understand where you're coming from there. I know I've seen the documentaries, obviously, about how animals are treated, and it is pretty despicable. I say this simply that I do feel most animal lives have more value than most people in this current climate. The way the world is now, I mean, animals are innocent, while people know what they're doing. You really can't call people innocent just by their nature. I don't know. I don't know anymore. It's a crazy world. Now, why were you in Norway specifically to milk goats? Is that just where is that where I guess production for that is taking place? Excuse me, I don't know a lot, so if I'm I only ask because the amount of information. I mean, I don't know everything, so I don't know why you did that. I was just curious. That's curious. That's interesting though. That's true. They really don't have they don't have their own say in how they live their lives. It is definitely true. They are still, in a sense, enslaved to serve mankind. Oh, it's just beautiful. Oh, fair enough. I understand. That's understandable. Fair enough. I rented for a long time there. I didn't realize I rented for almost an hour and a half. Well, not me ranting. It's just I don't want to say ranting because it's an actual belief. But that's cool. I mean, me and my wife have been to Europe. Not to Norway. I'm tired. Norway. But we've been to Ireland and London. And while we were in London, we were in a very specific area that did have a lot of the ideas I'm talking about. It's just that area isn't supported by the majority of the country. So it's not as you would want it to be. It's not like, what do you call it? Clean. It was more like, I don't want to say it was dirty. I don't want to say it. It just wasn't supported by the people. That's for sure. So we were there. We liked it, but really, if you had to compare it somewhere, it wasn't the nicest, but it was pure. All kinds of people were there, from every religion, I would say, nationality, race, whatever. They were all in this one little area. And I didn't feel particularly in danger. I felt like I was still able to be me, and they were them, and I got to enjoy. I mean, every corner in this little part we were in London had every kind of what do you call it? Every kind of ethnic possibility. It had everything you can imagine. It had it all. It was nice to have that, to be able to see it, because unfortunately here, where I live, and most of the country, it's just not like that. It's not, unless you're in a very specific city where they have no choice because it's like a melting pot. But I'd never experienced it before, because where I'm at, people are the people where I'm at. These people, they're the ones who put dumbass into the office. So it's crazy, and I got no choice. Like, I'm stuck where I'm at. I mean, when I say stuck, we're not stuck like we can't leave, but because people are they're just stuck in believing a certain way, we're stuck. We're stuck because of them. It's very unfortunate, but it's cool. I mean, we in the long run want to go everywhere, and we want to go everywhere and be able to express and see the world without any kind of fear of what the world is like. Yeah, I mean, we all know about each other's countries. We all know histories. I mean, I'm German, or definitely my ancestry is German, and so is my wife's, and German, Irish, and German, and a little bit of Italian, but yeah, my father, it's close to it could be.
Sarah's requesting scans from the quarantine zone on West 24th.
Well, no one notices how they harm each other anywhere. That's the thing. No one wants to notice, because if you notice it, then you have to have a reaction, and if you don't have a reaction, oh my God! I mean, then you're part of the problem, right? So you can't acknowledge it, because then you have to do something. You have to step up. You have to be something, a hero. You think you have to be a hero if you acknowledge it, instead of just being a good person, being a human being, and deciding that it's time to do something good. I know, it's crazy. And it makes no sense, because that's where me and my wife want to go. We actually want to go to live there, because we were there it was astonishing. It is so beautiful in Ireland. It's that is curious. Why aren't they? But it is so beautiful there. I mean, it's pure. There's just no other no other way of explaining it. It's pure. It's just beautiful there. So yeah, it's a beautiful country, and we were there. I mean, you couldn't help but that everybody was so nice to each other, and that everything that you like, kind of like what I envision, that was expressed there. People helped each other, you know, without like me and my wife were walking the street and we couldn't find like it was like a church or a monument of some kind, and this lady just said, "Can we help? Can I?" And obviously in an accent, and could they help us, or could she help us? And you will not find that here. Not without someone going, "Oh, I don't have the time to help you. What do you want?" You know, without attitude, without someone being just completely put off by the fact that you asked for help. But in that country, and just, you know, it's just people understanding. They patient. They want to help. They want to be, you know, they because I'm guessing because they understand that we're all just people, and that in the end, if we're not living like we should, you know, fairly and with consideration for one another, then we're not living, and we're wasting our lives for nothing. It's crazy. So yeah, I have this vision, and I think that one day, and I wish it could be sooner than later, I really do, one day we could actually live in that world. Where we can all... Alright, man. Well, I will be here. I'm obviously the guy with the black hat. Bye-bye, man. It was a pleasure. And, I'm here. So, thanks for stopping by. Spread love. Yes. True. Alright, man. Have a good night. See, that's a person right there who has an actual, you know, and sees it and has no problem saying it. See, and that's I know there's people out there who do see the world for what it is. And so it's just nice that I was right. I mean, I figured that a lot of people on here will understand because they probably live it. So it's good to see someone else actually, you know, vocalizing what, you know, my thoughts on it. So yeah. Well, that was something. Look at that. So we actually have a steady 6 followers, 6 viewers right now, which is crazy. I'm assuming Achilles is out there. Hey man, I'm pretty sure you didn't expect me to go off like that, but I can't help it when I keep having to hear the things I hear every day. It's very hard. So yeah. It's very interesting though to hear to actually, you know, to have someone actually speak out and understand completely. I had a fear, and it's a fear that I'm glad I was you know, was corrected. I had a fear that possibly most people would be fine with the way things are. No, that's not the truth. So that's good. Someone in another country sees things. Thank you, man. Thank you, King Dave. I like the way you think. Nice stream. Thank you. If you have any suggestions, I'm always looking to improve. I don't know what's. I don't always know how my stream is going. But yeah, that's a good question. What rights would you approve? it's not. You're right. It's never good to be closed-minded. I always try to be completely open to everything. Oh, I failed. Anyway, it is interesting. What kind of rights would you like to improve? Any advocates? Right. Well, I obviously would want to improve. Obviously, my main one is that equality, but not just equality, which I think is a funny way of looking at things. I don't think we need to be equal like that. Like, it shouldn't be we're fighting for equal rights. I think we should be fighting for human rights. Just us being what we are without any kind of consequences or judgments. So, I believe in equality, but I also believe that we shouldn't have to believe in equality. That it should be just part of what we are. We shouldn't have to fight to be viewed as, human beings. So yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, I know I spoke a lot, but I can't be the only one. I mean, how do you view it? Would you want to live in a world that didn't force you to live the way you are now? I mean, is it okay? Do you see it as a necessary evil? Some people do, and some people want it the way it is because, I mean, it keeps you down. I mean, hate to say it, but the man is trying to keep you down. That's probably the most realistic way of looking at it. But what would you, I mean, how could you live? Could you do it? Is it a realistic idea?
Contamination scan initiated.
And I feel like it is. I feel like it's a fair idea that if we lived in a world where people were able to express themselves without consequence, that we would be a better species. So that's just how I see it. But I think we could improve what we are, mankind, womankind. As human beings, we could become so much more if we had that. We live to our purpose. I'm a teacher, and that, I like to bring forward issues, to have them analyzed or maybe not just analyzed, but considered. To question's a good one.
Thanks.
I like to bring things forward that people can question, and not just my ideas, but question themselves. Question everything. It's always been. I always, when someone asks me something or says something to me, I don't question to be like. I'll ask like, well, why do you feel that way? What makes you think like that? I honestly want to know why someone behaves a certain way. And I hate to say it like that, like they're misbehaving. But it's always interesting to understand someone's viewpoint. Because my viewpoint is very specific. I believe that we should all be on the same level. And that nobody should be considered superior because of what society has dictated. Because that's the first problem. It's not even a society that's dictating. It's a group of people somewhere in power deciding for you. And then everybody just accepts it, which is madness. How do you accept things that really go against your nature? I don't know. I don't know how anybody does it. I've done it, and I'm not saying I'm better. I have to do it every day. That I leave honestly the place I want to be, and the person I want to be with all the time, which is my wife. I always want to be with her. I don't want to go anywhere else without her. It's just that but I'm forced to. I'm forced to leave and I guess go make a living so that I can live. But I'm not even enjoying anything. I'm just there, existing.
Just remember that you are
without purpose, really, without doing what I believe is right. So, yeah. That was my little things. So, if you guys are interested in my thoughts, I'm glad, and I'm interested in your thoughts as well. My goal from this point on, because I feel like a lot of us, and even I, because I don't want to know, I don't want to know, I don't actually do any kind of paying attention. So from this point on, and this is what I've always wanted to do this, so it's not really like something I just decided. I've always wanted to do this. I want to bring things that happen each and every day to you guys so that you can talk about it, so that you actually know what's going on. So that's what I'll do. Every day before I start my stream, I'll prepare a list of list of topics, essentially, of things that happen each day. And you'd be amazed how many horrible things happen every single day for no good reason and to people who don't deserve it, but that does anyway because of who they are or what they believe. That is what I want to do. And yeah, I really, as I was driving home today, I thought I could be the president of the United States. And not because I want power, but because, not even the president of the United States, I was bouncing around the idea, president of the world. And not to have power or control, but as a, and not even like a literal president. I mean like an image of an idea. Because ideas are more powerful than any one man. I mean, I want to be an idea, a concept that people can rally toward and believe themselves. And how would you not love to live in a world that allows you to create, supports that creation, and then admires it, and then rewards you for just being you? How could you not love that kind of world? It would be a beautiful world. And that's what I want. I want that world in my life. I really do. So yeah, that's my plan. And of course I'm gonna stream. Of course, I'm gonna play games like this game, and but I'm also gonna bring that dose of, I guess, of truth, and I will. That's the direction I want to go. So, if you enjoyed my stream, thank you for stopping by. If you enjoyed, I'd love a follow. Guys, I am trying to reach that goal because, honestly, just like anybody else, I don't want to have to do things in life anymore that make me unhappy. And I'm only doing it because I have no choice. I want to be able to bring you guys like these kind of views and thoughts because I actually like have a vision and that it's completely possible. But I can't reach people if I'm always being forced to work until I'm dead. And then what purpose have I served? None. To nobody. I have no purpose if I'm just slaving away for something that means nothing to anyone. And it really doesn't. What I do each and every day, you don't care about. And I don't blame you. I mean, what I do is meaningless. It serves no one. It definitely doesn't enrich anyone's lives. It's really pointless. I do it because I have no choice. And I get compensated very well. So, anyway, guys. I'm a little tired. I did work 12 hours. And then usually I get off at, I only stream for an hour on these days because I'm so tired. But Achilles, man, I know you're out there. I know you are. Sorry, maybe you are off camera at the moment, but off stream. But man, I know you always come by. I appreciate you, man. You rule. The Dead King Dave. Thanks, man. Just let me know what if you got any thoughts of opinions. You know, what I can do to make the stream more accessible. If there are things that you would like to see. And right now, you guys see my little Joker tiki, which I got where I work, and it's cool because he's really neat. I think he's cool. He's a little wooden, carved Joker, and I just happen to associate with the character, obviously because of his extremist views. But you know, he's also just kind of like Donald Trump. He's the effect, not the cause. He doesn't cause his surroundings. He's the reason. His surroundings created him, and that's so. There you go. And I got him. He's cool. I was able to figure some cool stuff out when it comes to him, so you guys can see him. I think he's cool as cool as can be. Look at that. Look at that. That's eerie. His face is so cool. Anyway, like I said, thank you for stopping by. KB, thank you for stopping by. Bohemian, also thank you. I like the questions you post you pose to us. It posts me and always gives me ideas and obviously questions. Everybody's got a question. If you don't question, then what's the point? You've got to question everything.
Warning. Incoming hostiles.
So, yeah. So, we'll finish up this last little mission here. And then we will end the stream. So I thank everybody who stopped by. Also, Dino the Rhino, thank you as well. I definitely enjoyed the convo and your viewpoint, because it's always nice to know what someone's thinking. Also to hear it. And I will get rest. I will definitely get rest. And then tomorrow I will be back on my normal schedule. And that should be around, I know it says 12, but that's like my rough schedule, because I'm still, I want to go to bed, but wake up at 12, it's probably not doable. So, I'll be on within that 12 to 11 time period. That's my frame. So I probably need to alter that so you guys can see it. That's my frame. 12 to 11 on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesdays are when I'll be on. I will definitely be playing The Division, because a guy I work with, he suggested I get it, and that he's going to help me play it, because I haven't played this game before. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to play with him. He's got some ideas that I'm interested in. He knows how to play the game really well. So, and I've played a little bit before, but I never could get into it because I didn't have anybody to play with. So if you guys play The Division, you happen to play it when I'm always looking for people to play with. Obviously, can have you in the stream if you'd like, and we can communicate. It'd be cool. Whatever makes the community grow. And as always, guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And I think after I kill this last guy, I should be done. And I'm done. So cool. Completed the mission. Thank you guys for coming. And as always, thanks for stopping by.